Hi, everyone. My name is Elise Bradshaw, and I am the Associate Director of Leadership and Programming at Phi Kappa Psi National Headquarters. And I am here with Zach, and I'll let him introduce himself.
Hi, guys. My name is Zachary. I serve as a Senior Leadership Consultant here at Phi Psi as well. And Elise and I are both happy to be doing this today.
Yeah, we are actually here with a Washington Alpha brother who is going to talk to us about a nonprofit organization he started. So we'll let Austin kind of take it away.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys. My name is Austin Miller, as they said. I am a Phi Psi University of Washington in Seattle. Quick introduction of myself. I was born and raised here in Washington State. Grew up in Tacoma, which is about an hour south of here. Have a great family. Went to private school kind of all my life, and then ended up at the University of Washington and found myself at Phi Kappa Psi. So it's good to be here.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Austin. So to start off, you mentioned a little bit at the end there, but can you tell us a little more about your story and what brought you to Phi Psi at your campus?
Yeah, of course. So I mentioned I went to private school kind of all my life, so that's kind of what I was used to. I went to a community college for my last 2 years of high school. We have a program here in Washington State called Running Start. So I was able to earn college credit while going to high school, which was great. Then transferred to the University of Washington. I was actually in the dorms my freshman year. I wasn't really sure if Greek life was the right fit for me. Kind of didn't know if it was right for me, I guess. And then after my freshman year, I had gained a few good friends. One of my best friends is still actually lives in the house with me now. But so we were freshman year roommates, and then kind of after our freshman year, kind of realized that we kind of wanted a bigger community, kind of more people to hang out with, kind of have more connections. So we kind of decided to start rushing. Didn't know if we'd find something, but if we did, then it would be great. So we rushed around a few different houses. This was the end of our freshman year at UW. And then kind of stumbled upon Phi Kappa Psi and immediately felt right at home. I think the main thing that kind of stood out about Phi Psi to us was that it was just the welcoming of the brothers. That kind of, not everyone's the same, obviously, but they really made you feel like a part of the family right from the start. And that's kind of what sold us on the house. And here we are today. So it's definitely been a great decision and has hugely impacted my life.
Awesome. We love to hear that. And we're going to get some more into Phi Psi and how it's impacted you a little bit later. But tell us a little bit about this nonprofit organization that you started, and what is it? What is it for you? What is it as an organization? Just explain that to us a little bit more.
Yeah, so I kind of wanted to provide a little bit of insight about, or context, I guess, about how it started in the first place. So let's see, it would have been my sophomore year at UW, my freshman year in Phi Psi. I attended the American Leadership Academy, which for those who don't know, it's a week-long kind of leadership seminar, kind of conference thing down in Cabo San Lucas during spring break. And I can honestly say that was during spring break. I can honestly say that was one of the best weeks of my life. Not only because I was in Cabo San Lucas with the beach and everything that goes along with Cabo, but we really, every day that we were there, we got to hear from some incredible leaders and very successful people. Let's see, Jerry Nelson was there, Scott Noble, the national president, Tony Horton, the founder of P90X. So it was really cool to kind of hear from people who were in Phi Psi and then have been extremely successful since then. So I think everyone who was there really came back from it really inspired and really kind of with a better plan for their future and really how to be successful. One of the days while we were there, we went on like a philanthropy trip type thing where we went out and helped rebuild a couple homes that had been destroyed from the tsunami a few years back. And that was just a pretty kind of awe-inspiring experience just to see how different you're on the strip in Cabo, which is just all these beautiful resorts, and then 5 minutes away there's people living without anything really. So I guess seeing that was huge for me personally, and kind of seeing just like the differences in how people live around the world. So that was, I guess, a pitch on ALA, so you're welcome. Just kidding. But let's see, so I came back from Cabo and really kind of felt like I wanted to do something. I traveled kind of quite a bit previously as well, and kind of seen how people live all around the world. And really kind of the thing that stood out to me most was just children really without any hope for a future. They lacked access to education or even like, I don't even know, shoes or backpacks or anything they would need to go to school or have hope for a future. Just there's millions of children who don't even have the basic necessities. So came back really wanting to do something about that, and that kind of is what sparked Pennys4Change. So yeah, came back, I guess worked with a lot of the guys in the house, which is why FiSci has had such huge impact on Pennys4Change to start the organization. Yeah, but I guess kind of the idea behind Pennys4Change is that small change can really make a big change in a child's life. So our fundraising method's pretty simple. Actually, I might have a cup. Hold on one second. We hand out these paper cups right here with their little logo on them, and we ask people to, I guess, collect their spare change at the end of every day. So we don't really realize a lot of times that if we have change, we just don't really care about it. We just do whatever with it, if we even keep it. So the idea is that you collect your spare change at the end of every day. We deliver the cup to the people, and then when their cup is full, they let us know, and we'll actually go right to their door and pick up the cup. And their cup full of change, they can then choose which of our nonprofit partners they want to donate to. So we have partners in Mexico, Ecuador, and Nepal. And so once they decide to turn in their change, they can decide like they want it to go towards buying backpacks for the children in Mexico or school supplies for the children in Ecuador. So it's really, I think, a way for them to kind of have a more direct way to see where their money's actually going.
Absolutely. Yeah. We love that. So tell us a little bit about the name and how you kind of created that. I know there's kind of an interesting story behind that. So tell us some more about that.
Yeah, of course. So you may notice the name is spelt wrong. It should be an I-E-S instead of a Y-S at the end of Pennies. But so the reason we kind of want to go with that name, my grandma's name was Penny actually, and she had a heart for giving, and she really wanted to, I guess I kind of learned from her example of always wanting to, I guess, do the right thing and help people and really make sure that everyone really had opportunity to be successful. So that's kind of the name was really inspired by her, as well as just kind of the play on words, the Pennys4Change, since we are collecting spare change.
Awesome. So you were mentioning a little bit about your partnerships in Mexico, Nepal, and Ecuador. Can you talk to us a little bit about how those partnerships came about, how you met the people you need to do, and really how you made those connections?
Yeah, of course. So they kind of all have different stories. The one in Mexico, I traveled a bit to Mexico growing up with my family, to Puerto Vallarta, and every time we went down there, we would volunteer with an organization called Children of the Dump. And that organization basically was a bunch of families living at this local dump, where the parents' jobs were literally to go into the dump and find materials they could recycle and get money back for. So their children really, they weren't going to school. They weren't really, they had really, like I've said, no hope for a future. So the organization went down there and they kind of started helping them get access to education by having like after school programs and providing backpacks and school uniforms and stuff like that. So that was always an organization that was kind of close to my heart. And really the first, when I started Pennys4Change, I knew I really wanted to partner with them. So that was kind of the first one I set up. From there, we set up that partnership with the organization in Nepal. That was just through kind of a mutual connection. Someone knew the organization down there, so we were able to set that one up. And then the one in Ecuador, I studied abroad for 3 months in Ecuador earlier this year, and I volunteered at an organization down there when I was down in Ecuador. And so that's kind of how that partnership came to be.
Awesome. Well, that's so cool that you've gotten to go to all those places. And I know you mentioned that you have a trip planned to Mexico, I believe, in August. So what's the purpose of that, and is it involved with this, and what's that going to look like for you?
Yeah, so very excited about this one. This is actually our first giving trip. So we've been fundraising since we started about a year ago. And so this is our first opportunity to actually go to one of our partner sites, and we'll be bringing a lot of the funds that we've collected over the past year, and really going down there to spend time with the kids, really kind of see what they have going on down there, and then also purchase the supplies we've been fundraising for. So in Mexico, I know their main needs are, I've mentioned this a few times, but backpacks, school uniforms, and tennis shoes. So the tennis shoes allow the kids to play sports after school, and the backpack and school uniform are just required for them to go to school, which a lot of them don't have. So we'll be bringing probably a group of about 10 of us down to Puerto Vallarta for the week to spend some time with the organization down there.
Oh, yeah, that's really cool that you're making this actionable from an idea and moving forward, that you're going forward with this now. So based off of that, with everything going on with school and probably outside organization as well, what has made you successful this far in this process, and what have you learned as well?
That's a great question. I think honestly, I think most people will tell you this, but the thing that has made us most successful is just hard work, passion, just not giving up. I mean, there's obviously gonna be obstacles along the way, but realizing that those just need to be overcome, and that you really can't overcome them with just some blood, sweat, and tears.
I hear that. So you kind of you touched on this just for a second, that there were some obstacles along the way. So talk to us about some of the difficulties that you faced in doing this, personally, professionally, just what does that look like for you, and what is that whole process, kind of those hardships that you kind of had to surpass to get to where you are?
Yeah, of course. So there's kind of a few that come to mind. The first is really when creating like any sort of business, especially a nonprofit organization, there's tons of legal issues that I never knew existed, just as far as getting our license to operate, or incorporating as a nonprofit organization. Just creating a bank account was a huge obstacle that I had no idea would take so long. But I think just the legal issues that no one on my team had any experience with, so it was really a learning curve as far as contacting people who had experience with that. We've talked to a few actually FISI alumni who are lawyers now, who have been a huge help to us and kind of figuring out all the legal processes and stuff. Another hardship really is the huge transition actually nowadays into using credit cards. So the idea behind Pennys4Change is that people are using cash and then having spare change. With less and less people using cash, that's becoming more and more difficult. So we really had to kind of come up with some other creative ideas about how to fundraise, which we've kind of we've been planning events and doing other kind of things, other kind of creative partnerships and stuff to fundraise in place of just having the coins as our like key source of revenue.
Sure. And I find that that's probably a really difficult kind of obstacle to maneuver, especially as we move towards a more electronic world.
Yeah.
So kind of linking it back to the beginning, what part has FISI played in this whole process for Pennys4Change, and what does that look like for Phi Kappa Psi?
Yeah, that's great. So I think the main, I guess there's a lot of things, but really just the support and then involvement as well. When I got back from ALA, and kind of right when I got back, I was like, I have this idea, I want to do this. I posted on our house's Facebook group and said, hey, I want to have I'm thinking about doing this. If anyone's interested, I'll be meeting in the library downstairs tonight at 7 p.m. or something like that. And I think 10 people showed up to that first meeting, and just kind of, it was obviously, there's nothing set in stone. We're just kind of brainstorming ideas. And it kind of grew, honestly. So we started maybe 10 people interested. I think we got up to 30 people, which is honestly too big of a team probably from the start. But it was great. It was just, we had everyone's support. It took about a month and a half to kind of get all our ducks in a row before we could actually launch. But then on the launch day, we had a little launch party at our house, and everybody shared the Facebook page. Everybody, if you looked on Facebook within a 24-hour period, all you saw was Pennys4Change. Every person, I think people might have been getting a little bit annoyed actually, just because every single post from any guy in my house was something about Pennys4Change, just spreading the word, and really just kind of sharing it to get the word out. So just really the support that everyone has shown and continue to show has just been huge for us.
That's awesome. So what can other Five-Sides learn from your experience in this whole process and moving forward? You know, what would you say to them if you could?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think I kind of touched on this earlier. Really, just the idea of passion and working hard is really kind of the biggest thing that I've taken away from this. Like I said, not just with starting a nonprofit organization, but anything in life, there's going to be obstacles. There's going to be things that come up. Life's not easy, but really just work hard, be passionate, be enthusiastic, be nice to people, and really it'll pay off a ton. Another thing, kind of in addition to that, is just enjoy life. Our life on earth is extremely short. Actually, I learned something at ALA. One of the speakers had this idea of no bad days. So it's really the idea that every day counts, and you can really make the most of your life here on earth if you're just really, you work hard, you're happy, you're nice to people. And I think in addition to that, you give back and you really care about making the world a better place, as cliche as that is.
Sure, absolutely. So as Five-Sides, obviously service is something that's very important and close to our hearts. So through this whole process, has your affinity for Five-Side changed? Have you changed your views a little bit? Talk us through that and how kind of your values have been throughout this process.
Yeah, I'd say my affinity for Five-Sides just increased or improved since I've been in the house, or since this whole thing started. Just kind of seeing the support behind it, or behind all the brothers in my house, as well as like nationally alumni that have gotten involved. So I think just this whole process has really really increased my affinity towards the house.
And you talked about this a little bit when you said the support that you received in the beginning from all of your brothers, but why do you think that it's important for brothers to do service endeavors together, do philanthropic endeavors together? Like, why do you think as a Five-Side that's important for brothers to do together?
Yeah, I think, I mean, obviously Five-Side fraternities in general are all about brotherhood. I think one of the best ways to really promote brotherhood, to increase your brotherhood as a whole, is really just to give back together. I think obviously doing things together increases your brotherhood, but when you're doing something that actually matters, doing something that's impactful, whatever that may be, whether it's something like Pennys4Change or volunteering in the Special Olympics, which is something my house does quite a bit. I think things like that really kind of bring you together for a common purpose, for really a common good of helping other people and giving back.
Cool. So to sum this all up, what can Five-Sides and non-Five-Sides alike do to get involved with this organization, to donate their time, money, etc.? I go to get more information on this.
Yeah, of course. So our website, I think it's probably posted somewhere, but it's Pennys4Change.org. I'll spell it PENNYS, the number 4, change.org. So I think the best way for people to get involved, so we are a Seattle-based organization, so all of our fundraising with our Cups of Change is currently done in Seattle, but we also allow for online donations. So that can be done on our website. We really appreciate any size donation, and people can choose which cause, again, they want to help support. And so that's a great way for people to get involved financially. We're also interested in starting up chapters on other campuses as well. That's something we've kind of been playing around with. We don't really have all the logistics of that worked out yet, but if there are other Five-Sides who are interested in starting Pennys4Change chapters on their campuses in their cities, that's something that we would definitely be interested in talking to them about. And then the third thing, if there's any lawyers who are currently listening to this, we are trying to become a 501c3 corporation, which would allow us to have tax-exempt donations. We don't currently have that tax-exempt status, and that's something we're really hoping to do to really take us to the next level. So yeah, I think, and then I guess the final thing is just, again, continuing to spread the word about Pennys4Change, whether that's liking us on Facebook or just telling your friends about it. We do really have a huge vision of making this really something that is really a national or global organization.
Awesome. Well, is there anything else you wanted to share with us about Pennys4Change, or you and your Five-Side experience, or anything with that?
I think that's good for me. Yeah, I can't think of anything else.
Great. Well, thank you so much for talking with us today, Austin. We really appreciate it. I love hearing about the service initiatives that Five-Sides are taking across the country, and I think it's awesome for other brothers to see this as well and hopefully get involved however they can.
Awesome. Thank you both very much for your time. I appreciate it.
All right, bye.
All right, thank you.